we do have a bit of roster news for the Carolina Panthers. Just to start off the conversation, Mike White to the practice squad. If you remember Mike White, I guarantee you it's because he had a couple bananas games for the Jets a couple years ago.
Quarterback, by the way.
True. He threw for 400 yards in a game. I think it was a nationally televised game. Can't remember if it was Monday or Sunday night, something like that. May have been a Thursday. But he threw for 400 yards in a game, had a couple other 300-yard games the next year. 7 starts in his career, I think 15 appearances. He's bounced around a little bit, but once you prove, beyond, you've done it, that you can throw for 400 yards in an NFL game, you'll at least bounce around as a backup for a few years. You're going to get some shots. He's been on the Bills. He's been on the Dolphins. He's obviously been on the Jets. Now he'll be signed to the practice squad of the Carolina Panthers, which, I mean, it's obviously insurance, but it's a pretty good indication they're preparing for Bryce Young to not play this week, which we anticipated, but, with every action it becomes more obvious that it's an Andy Dalton game. What I want to focus on for the moment, we'll get into the Andy Dalton of it all a bunch as the week goes on. Matter of fact, we have a conversation that's going to air tomorrow between myself and Mike Glennon, who Mike has played every role in the NFL, starter, backup, emergency quarterback, every different role you could possibly play. So we talked to him about what the week is like with a backup quarterback taking over. That's going to air tomorrow. I encourage you all to tune in and check it out. But right now I want to talk about why Jalen Coker finished his first game back off injury with no catches. Jalen Coker, when they traded Adam Thielen this preseason, everybody had the same reaction. They can do this because of Jalen Coker. They have a guy that can fill that role, and it's Jalen Coker. Jalen Coker last year, after taking, how do I say taking a while? He was an undrafted rookie free agent, and by halfway through the year, he had made it pretty obvious that he's an NFL rotation wide receiver, and then at times he was their best wide receiver. So going into this year, we heard a ton about his dedication to transforming his body and working harder, and he stayed in Charlotte when everybody else was going home to work out, and it felt like he was poised. I don't want to say he was poised for like a 1,200-yard season, but it felt like he was poised to be a part of the offense the entire season. Between preseason and regular season, he suffered an injury, had to start on the IR, took 1 week of practice to kind of ramp up. Then he was activated this past week. Didn't finish with a catch. Okay, over. Made my job easy because when I have these conversations, what I like to be able to say is I go back and watch every target from every angle, or I go back and watch every route run. Didn't take me that long. Jalen Coker played 26 snaps. He ran 16 routes, and he had the 2 targets that I referenced. I will describe the 2 targets for you. There was one on a deep corner, kind of a smash route, for those of you that are aware of concepts, where you had an outside receiver, not really running a hitch, kind of an in, and then he ran a corner route, right? The flag route, the 7 route, whatever you call it. Probably a bad read by Bryce Young, and then an underthrown ball. Didn't really have a chance, right? The corner sagged off. Probably should have banged it to thrown the pass to the outside guy on the little slow in route. Either way, it was incomplete. The wide receiver gets neither a plus or a minus. He gets an NA on decision, NA on execution, because there was nothing he could do. The next target was a play action kind of strange route. It was kind of like a overstop. Like he ran a deep curl over the ball. Strange route, but hey, you design it how you design it. The pass was severely underthrown, probably intentionally underthrown because he had a guy in coverage. Play action deep curl that was, I call it dirtied, right? Thrown in the ground, close enough that the refs couldn't say you were intentionally throwing it to no one, but it was low and to the right. Difficult catch. I mean, nearly impossible. I'm not putting that one on the wide receiver either. And that's it. Those are the targets for Jalen Coker. Those are the 2. Now, I said this last week, so I like the idea of, saying things and then they hold me accountable. I said last week that I am okay. I am accepting of 1 week ramp up, right? If he's out there and they just want him to get some game reps, they want him to block. Like I said, he played 26 snaps, only ran 16 routes, which means 10 times he was out there on a football field doing something other than running a route, aka blocking. If that is the case, they just wanted to get him out there on an NFL field. He was back to return a kick, although I didn't think he didn't get the chance to.
Yeah, he was out there for a punt. It hit to the sideline and bounced away.
If they just want to get him in the mix, I'm okay with a 1 week ramp up because he didn't get any of those reps for the first however many weeks. This week, get him involved. It's worth it. Okay, he's good enough. He is valuable enough to the offense. Get him involved. Okay? And I'm not saying, hopefully he wins, right? Because to me, the two routes that he ran, I'm not saying there were 0% chance of a catch, right? If Bryce put the corner route on the money over the top, he could have made a really nice catch on the sideline, but you're depending on really two really good plays in order for that to be a catch. Scheme him up a couple. This week, scheme him up a couple. Right? Make him the number one option. Give him a likely to be open route, whether it's a screen, whether it's a shallow cross, whether it's just a kind of a X receiver route like a hitch or something with a soft corner. Get him the ball in his hands 2 or 3 times that you're pretty confident he's going to end the play with the ball in his hands. And then beyond that, it can be, well, if he's open, Bryce can, the defense can lead him towards the open man, and if that's Jalen Coker, it's there, right? 2 or 3 schemed up targets shouldn't impact, Tepper McMillan's usage, right? Because I don't want to take anything away from him. Shouldn't impact the running game's usage because if Rico Dowdle is cranking, I don't want to give anybody a reason to not give him the ball. It shouldn't impact the offense in a negative way in any direction. But if it gets Jalen Coker into the mix, into a rhythm, it is valuable to the offense to do so. 2 targets, probably not enough. 16 routes, probably not enough, depending on, his health and availability. I want him out there in 2 wide receiver sets, and that's even being said with this. Don't be complicated by Xavier Legette having a big game. Xavier Legette, first of all, we said it yesterday. Kudos to Legette. Maybe his best game as a pro. The ceiling, the one that sealed it down the right sideline from Andy Dalton, that is a huge play, and give him a ton of credit. I still think his role at this stage in his career is kind of the more boomer bust guy, right? 3 wide receivers, move Jalen Coker into the slot. You can put Tepper McMillan into the slot. You can be creative and use Xavier Legette for his speed. But the 2 most complete wide receivers I see on the roster right now, based on what we've seen over the last 2 years, Tepper McMillan, large gap, Jalen Coker. And then, everybody else has their role, right? I have no problem with getting Jimmy Horn some touches. No problem with Legette. 11 targets felt like a lot last week. But if he's going to catch 9 of them for however many yards, it's hard to complain. Jalen Coker needs to be a part of the offense. 1 week ramp up, I'm not mad. So I'm not mad right now. But in the same way that last week I said, if it's a 1 week ramp up, I'm okay. Now I'm saying I won't be okay next week if I'm pre-setting my expectations. I will not be okay if he has two targets, neither of which a real opportunity for him to make any impact.
I think he's really good on those intermediate routes, and he has such sure hands.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's,
and he's big.
Yeah, he's not a small guy.
He and when I say sometimes I feel like I need to. When I say he's big, that means he plays big, right? I've seen tall guys play small. I've seen small guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's not a big dude. When I watch him, I'm like, oh, he's a big dude. And what that means is you can have a guy on your back and he attacks the ball in a way that he catches it and he tucks it aggressively so he doesn't leave the ball hanging out there for somebody to poke away. Jalen Coker has some of that, right? The deep ball catches that he has made, he's not a 4-4 guy, right? He very rarely has 3 steps on somebody unless it's a blown coverage. But if you put it up there and you give him a chance, he comes down with the catch a lot. So that's what I mean by, I don't know how tall he is exactly. He's somewhere over 6 feet.
He's about 6'2".
Yeah, 6'2".
I've stood next to him, interviewed him one-on-one. I'd say he's a solid 6'1", 6'2".
So while that is tall, that's not like gargantuan.
No, he's not 6'4" McMillan, but
he plays big.
Yeah.
So give him an opportunity to make a couple plays, right? Give him an opportunity to make a couple plays, and I would actually say guarantee him 2 catches. If he ends the game with 2 like almost like basically long handoffs, and 2 more targets of some other variety. Anything more than that, I think it's okay. Anything like a screen, a shallow cross, and then 2 targets just within the flow of the offense, acknowledging that, Andy Dalton might only throw it 24 times, and I want to take care of some other guys. That's enough for me. I will set my expectations there. Anything less, you'll hear me on Monday. I hope they were just ramping him up. Because, if there's one thing this regime is kind of, I don't want to say overly cautious, but they take their time. It's bringing guys back off injury. They very much are like one baby step at a time, when I think myself, sometimes I get a little impatient. I'm like, if he's active, send him out there all the time. Deep balls, give him a shot. They're like, well, it's his first game back after 5 games off, and, we're going to see how he reacts to NFL game football. Stop that with your logic and your conservative thinking. I want go. But I'm okay with last week. I won't be okay with the same thing this week.